your darts. Move the darts, reduce and redistribute dart intake with me. In the first episode, we learned what darts are and how they shape a garment. Creative Minds, welcome back to our dart and dart manipulation series. Marialeda is my name and I am your fashion tutor. If it's your first time of being here on our channel at DOSEfashions Academy, where we help you to give your creativity expressions, kindly subscribe and turn on the notification bell not to miss out. In this lesson, I will show you how to throw your darts for perfect closure, move them to a new positions and even split one dart into two smaller darts, a powerful technique for advanced shaping and styles. Are you ready? Get started with me. Take a look at these patterns, same bodies, but the darts have been moved, split, and reshaped, yet the fit stays perfect. Just look at the beauty we have on our table. Right now, let's dive into it. And first is throwing a dart. So your pattern from the first episode, which is the placement of dart positions on the basic bodies, which is the front bodies. You're going to be placing it on a paper like this. And then you're going to be using your thumb pin to secure your apex point. Your apex point is your bust point, and that is the main point we are using the pivot method. Now let us copy this particular pattern here. We want to recopy this so that we are going to be learning how to throw a dart. Let's start with throwing a dart. Simply means checking that your dart legs meet perfectly so the pattern closes smoothly. Fold your darts along the legs and trim any uneven edges. This step ensures your finished garment has a clean, accurate fit. Like that, just copy out, outline this out. So I'm cutting out around the waistline and then I add little extra inch. Not exactly on the waistline because we want to throw our darts. Okay, so we want to learn how to do this. So after cutting this out now, we are going to be folding our darts in the direction that we already have on our pattern. If you have not watched the first episode, stop and watch the first episode so that you are not missing out on any step, because this is a series you don't want to miss any step. Don't be in a haste, please. So now our apex points, and then I also want to copy my darts from here. So I'm bringing back my pattern so that I can copy my darts with the use of my tracing wheel. Tracing wheel is an important pattern making tool you should have in your wardrobe as a stylist, so that you will always use it. It helps you to copy your pattern on time. So now I'm just going to be drawing out my dart leg, just like we have it on the pattern before. But if you don't have a tracing wheel, you can just redraw your dart legs just on your body. So this is just the main body, the upscale bodies we drafted all at that position, and just copying it back here. Now look at the direction that the dart goes into. So also don't forget to always label your dart leg A and dart leg B. So the direction is that direction we are going to be folding it. Look at that. So when it's folded in that direction, it's going to be facing the center front, just like it is demarcated with the arrow when we are drafting, just like that. See that? Perfect. It is very important to know the direction of your dart. Very, very important. So now I'm going to be using my tracing wheel to trace this out. But before I do that, let me outline my waist so that you're going to see the waistline first, what we have on the waistline, and how throwing darts affects what we have there earlier on. So when you fold this now, you're just going to be tracing this. I'm using my tracing wheel as well to trace this out, to trim it out so that I can have it. If you don't have a tracing wheel, just go ahead and just cut after you might have fold your dart in. So don't cut without folding your dart in, please. Fold your dart in. This help you to through your dart, which is a steps that ensure your finished garment has a clean and accurate fit. You don't want to be short of any that leg. So you can see, look at it, it is a little bit below my waistline. That is what that trim is. Do you get that? Checking that your dart legs meet perfectly so the pattern closes smoothly. That is all about that rule. Copied? Right. So next, we are now going to be moving to next on our agenda for this episode, which is moving of a dart. Same your pattern that you have from the episode 1, place it again on your paper. Now we want to move our dart. Let's say my dart is on the waist. I don't want it on the waist. I'm moving it to the side seam waist dart. So we are going to outline. Now look at that. From your first dart leg A, you're going to outline from there. Just follow through. Take your time. So you're just going to outline from there, just like you're copying the pattern. That is from the first dart leg A. Now, where we want to move our pattern to, it is on the side seam waist dart. So you dot that over there and then you also copy. Copy that to meet up with that over there. Now we know where we want to move our dart to and we know where we want to move our dart from. We want to close it on the waist using the pivot method and we want to open it on the side seam. Look at that. Awesome. I tint it back. So I'm going to move my dart leg B to meet with where the A is because I'm closing it up. I won't be needing that on my waist. So that is how it's done. It's closed there and it's now moved to the side seam. Now always take note of your apex point, and your apex point is your bust point, which is the major parts you're going to be using in moving all your darts around. So you should always take note of that. Maybe you like the shaping to come from the shoulder, side seam instead of the waist, or from the armhole for a softer look. Pivot the dart to the new location. This is one of the most powerful dart manipulation techniques, and that is what we just did. Moving a dart. Amazing. Now I'm using my tracing wheel to also check if my dart legs have aligned. It is important. You have to check. You have to throw every of your darts at every position and every direction you move into. Ensure you always through your darts. Don't miss that. So I'm outlining this out and then I'm drawing this. Ensure you always through your darts. Guys, what did we do? What did we do here? We just move the dart from all the darts from the waist and we move it to the side seam waist dart. If it's the armhole, you also do using the same process. If it's on the shoulder, it's also the same process. Neckline, anywhere, any direction, is also the same process. That is why we take our time in the first episode in explaining where that position are on the body so that you'll be able to know. Look at that, I still have excess. It's not well through. So I'm just going to be using my scissors to chop it off. You can see that. So that is the essence of truing your dart. So look at that. Look at what we have over there. Guys, don't be alarmed if the dart looks bigger or smaller at the edge. The shaping hasn't changed, only the position. Now look at that, everything aligned and it is just perfect. So go ahead now and label your pattern that your standard waist dart has been moved to the side seam waist dart. Moving your dart allows you to shift fullness exactly where you want it for better fit or for a specific design effect. Look at that. Look at the beauty we have there. You still have your fitness and you still have everything in shape. Just moving your darts. Nothing affects anything here. Great. Awesome. Applaud yourself. Now we are moving to the next session of this episode, which is dart reduction, splitting of our darts. So, okay, before we do that, let us make another example, which is to move a dart to the neckline, to the mid shoulder. So now we are moving to the mid shoulder, and then I'm going to outline also from the dart leg A and outline to where I want the dart to be moved to. That is the mid shoulder. Do you see that? Then I tint my pattern. Look at that. I returned it back to show you again. Look at this. So you just outline from this that leg A and then to where you want that to move to. So now you also move your dart leg B to go and meet A, enclosing that waist dart, so that you move it to this. So you just continue with the outline from the other side, targeting where the point that your dart is moving to. So just like you're seeing over there, look at that, look at that, look at what we have over there. So look at how the dart has been moved and has been taken. Notice how my original waist dart is about 1.5 inches wide, but when I rotate it to the shoulder, it opens to about 2.5 inches. That's because the dart leg are now further. Apart are the shoulder seam. But the actual dart volume hasn't changed, guys. Creative minds. It is normal as long as the dart apex and intake measurements are correct. The fit stays exactly the same. Your dart intake will always change. Now on my waistline, remember when we drafted the waistline, I drafted for medium measurement, which is 1.5 inch for dart intake. So after moving this dart to my mid shoulder, guess what? I have 2.5 inches. It is not a problem at all. As long as your dart, apex, and intake measurements are correct, the fit stays exactly the same. So don't be alarmed that it looks bigger or it looks smaller. The shaping hasn't changed, only the position. So after moving a dart through your seams line again, sew your pattern pieces fit together smoothly, just like the same we are still through this dart. Through your dart, always creative minds. Anytime you move every dart, for every dart you move, through your seam lines again. So don't joke with that. So I'm throwing this again, and this is how it appears. Amazing, right? So look at that. It is perfectly true as well. So now we've successfully learned how to throw our dart, as well as moving the dart from one position to another. Now look at what we have there. Amazing, right? Yeah. Exactly. Perfect. Great. So you still maintain your fitness irrespective of how the darts are moved. So just ensure that everything aligns and your apex is right. Now look at that. Look at it. So we moved from the waist to the side seam waist dart and to also the shoulder. So look at the measurements I have. 2.5. Wow. 2 inches at the side seam. Wow. And on the waist is 1.5. Just like I explained earlier, it is absolutely normal. So don't panic, okay? As long as the dart, apex, and intake measurements are correct, the fit stays exactly the same. So it is normal for it to move just like that, to be wider. Now let us go ahead into that distribution. So we want to, let's say we want 2 darts. We don't want just the volume of one particular dart on our pattern, and then we want 2 darts. So now we want to target, I'm going to be distributing my darts to the French seam, just like you're seeing me drawing the pattern over there. So my target is, I want to have a dart on my French seam, and then I want to also have a dart on the French dart rather, and also on the standard waist dart. So now my dart is going to, from dart leg A, I drew a line, and then I move it up. So instead of starting just from there, so I won't close entirely because I'm not moving everything. So you are going to be targeting the middle folding line of the dart leg, that fold line on the dart leg. So that is your target. So you are taking half of the dart that you have on the waist, and then you are replacing it on the French seam, which is where we are taking the dart into. For a really exciting trick, splitting a dart, sometimes one dart feels too large or you want a more subtle shape. You can reduce the waist dart or create another dart at the shoulder. This is called redistributing the dart intake. It gives your garments smoother shaping and adds new design options like double darts, just like I mentioned earlier. So instead of moving the entire dart, so you just target the fold line of your dart, not your entire dart closing, and you move to the French dart. So you see, half of my dart is on the waistline and half of the dart is now on the French dart. Do you notice that the dart is still wider on the French seam? So that is what I was explaining to you earlier. You should not panic. It is absolutely normal. So you're getting it right. Don't bother about it. Just make sure that your apex is correct and then you move it to the right place you want the dart to move to. So now we have successfully go ahead and label your pattern, the dart reduction from waist to French dart. Exactly. Perfect. Is this not looking amazing? Yeah, you are doing awesomely well. So we have successfully moved this dart as well. We have successfully reduced the dart as well. Do you see that? So you notice how the shaping remains the same, but the dart positions and number of darts have changed. It's still the same shape. It's just that the number of darts have changed and the position have changed. We now have 2 darts instead of 1 dart. Perfect. Amazing. Great job. Mary Adedoyin is my name and I help you give your creativity expressions. I am the lead fashion tutor of DOSEfashions Academy, where we help you to give your creativity expressions. If you want any schedule, classes, one-on-one section, do let me know and I'll be there to guide you through. We help you to learn at your pace with DOSEfashions Academy. Yeah. We understand how busy everything can be, and you do not want to neglect your passion. So please let us know, and then we come up with a calendar flexible for you, a schedule flexible for you, and you're just going to just be doing that, right? So now we have successfully reduced all these darts, and then we have a dart on the waist and on our front seam. Is this not looking amazing? Exactly. So that is how you have 2 darts. Now let's experiment with another part so that you understand better. Let's do it again. So this time around, we are going to be reducing to our mid shoulder. Same process, same thing. Guys, what have we been doing? We're just going to pin our apex down using my thumb pin. So pin your apex down using your thumb pin, and then I'm going to draw to outline this dart to where I want to reduce the dart into. So from my standard waist dart, from my dart leg A, I outline out until I get to where I want. So where are we reducing it to? It is on the shoulder. If it's the neckline, you also do it to the neckline. If it's the armhole, you put it at the armhole. So just for you to get it right. So that is just it. So now after doing that, then you flip, you tint your pattern to by half, not the entire, because you are not taking all the darts away. You are reducing it. So the middle line, that is the folding line of your darts in the middle, it's what you're going to be taking it to there. So for you, you have half of your darts on your waist and half of your darts on your mid shoulder, just like the same way you have it there. Boom, you have it. Now note your apex place so that you know where your dart leg will be connected to. Next, we will take this moved and split darts and turn them into star lines and design seams. This is where your pattern drafting really becomes creative. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. Everyone, which of the dart movements are you most excited to try? Shoulder, neckline, side seam, French, et al. Drop this in the comment section. Now you know how to true, move, and split that. 3 foundational skills in that manipulation. In the next episode, we will take it even further and turn that into beautiful style lines and princess seams. Make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss it. Be there, don't miss it, and let me know in the comments which dance movement do you want to try first. Everyone, let me know. So you see that, look at what we have here. We have distributor darts on the waist, and it is also on the shoulder. Boom. Perfect. Exactly. Just applaud yourself for a job well done. And we are just getting started with the dart manipulation series. So don't miss out any. Everyone, drop your comments, like, share, above all, subscribe. And don't forget to put it in the comment section which of them excites you most, because this is just so beautiful to follow through and to work with. And that is how we have everything on our table. Now you should have all this on your table right now. Yes, everything. If you have not watched the episode, the first episode, go back and review again. And if you still don't get a part of this, still go back and still refresh yourself with the first episode.